last Friday, the story came out that NXT was not going to FS1. And you're smiling because you had some clues about this before most of us. But instead it's going to be on USA, which is a much bigger station, a much more WWE-centric station. And now the thought of AEW and their competitor is like NXT has a real legitimate chance of winning, that Wednesday Night War just because of just the overall volume of stations that USA is on compared to FS1. And so I think the game has all of a sudden changed. And, we've talked about this before. Vince McMahon is here to compete. He is not here to let you do what you want. And I thought it was a really savvy move for him to do this. And it's funny because I think it was Meltzer who said someone told Vince about the number of homes that FS1 was in, and he wigged out and was like, "No, we cannot be in less homes than AEW," and that was part of the reason for the move. There was also other stuff going on. FS1 has Wednesday nights; they have basketball and stuff. So, you went through the Monday Night Wars. We've been watching wrestling since we were kids. What was your thought on the move to the USA to kind of like? It was like a poker move against AEW.
Well, Vince is the master chess player, right? And I also don't think it's not just Vince too. It's also Triple H is very competitive, and NXT's his baby, and they looked at NXT as the competition to AEW, right? And it's good for NXT. This is great. This is great news just for being a wrestling fan. The Monday Night Wars was some of the best times of watching wrestling. And Wednesday's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to go back and forth and compare shows and compare talent. And I just think that Vince was, smart. I also think it's smart to get a couple week head start. He's going to get, eyes on them first. He has these great networks to promote it. The USA Network from, NBC, right? There's Sci-Fi Channel. You can throw commercials on. There's so much reach that USA has under that umbrella, and they have a great relationship with USA. So, brilliant.
Okay, so I have two kind of counters to, actually one counter to what you just said, and then a counter to my own counter, which is you said that them getting a 2-week head start on AEW is a good thing. And I think originally I thought that same thing too, but I think it's only a good thing if the third week is like a build, like the built show is that third week when AEW debuts. Because if you do that first week is NXT and you throw all kinds of stuff, it's like great, and then the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth generally just drop off slightly. Mm-hmm. But if you build towards that third week, I sort of threw out having a live takeover on that week to really throw everything at that show, because that's the show that you're competing with. Then I think it is a really good idea to go early. What are your thoughts, or how do you feel how they're going to build to those first few weeks?
100% they're going to build to that head-to-head competition with AEW. That's 100% is in their plans right now. They're putting all these cards together. They're getting the booking down, and that's to hit that first week and hit with a great card. Or people who don't have the opportunity to watch one after another have who's gonna pick, and they want them to pick NXT. We should see some big matches, in my opinion. I think you'll see multiple championship matches be online, and I think NXT talent wise, I think it's far superior than AEW, but there might be certain moments where fans would tune out to see maybe a Kenny Omega instead, right, of a certain person, mm-hmm. But then again, if you have like a big title match or something like that, it's going to be very damn competitive. I expect them to not necessarily be a takeover title show.
Yeah.
I expect it to be a takeover level show for sure. That was at the third week, right?
Yep, week 3. So I guess the thing that I'm wondering about NXT is we see NXT as this originally, and I think what made it really fun was this developmental brand. We went to the WrestleMania weekend show. You went to that show, right? The
Yes.
NXT?
Yes.
So, Charlotte and Sasha, what was it?
Kenta, Tyler Breeze.
And was it Finn and Neville? Who faced Neville in that show?
I know Baron Corbin versus Rhino. I remember that match. I know Sami Callihan worked Kalisto. God, yeah, who did Finn work? Just a good question. I just remember the main event was Sasha and Charlotte was a big deal.
I thought it was Neville, but that being said, Neville and Finn Balor worked years before that, so it's not like they were new. But Sasha and Charlotte definitely felt like new and developmental, and so there was a little bit of a charm to it. Of you're seeing the next guys, the next men and women who are going to be up, and then smartly, I think Triple H was like, "Look, like the indies are going nuts, and we should consider NXT at that level, and we should try to get all these guys and put them under our umbrella." And then they did that. And so then you got Kevin Owens and these PWG guys and all of these really, really strong wrestlers. I mean, we see it today. Like Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano have been in the main event of the last 2 takeovers. And those guys are not new to really anybody. But now the brand seems like it's going to have to take another turn or have a third transition, which is it going to be where you're going to see main roster talent come over to do things for ratings? Are they going to tour? I assume there's going to be a bump in pay because you want the good folks to kind of stay there at least for a little while before you get other people ready to take those spots. Is it going to be the third brand equally rather than what it's been, which is this sort of the minor league?
It'll be equally, maybe not in full pay as much as like a Roman Reigns, maybe a guy like that level. But I mean, they'll definitely be getting a lot more money. Especially this is the next level. They're definitely gonna be touring. I'm sure. They're still gonna do their coconut tours with the probably the younger group. More of the quote unquote developmental guys, and you'll have those shows going. There might even be 3 tours. I don't know. They could do a lot. And it's gonna be really fascinating. I'm curious to see how they're gonna do their TV now. Do things change a little bit? They definitely will, because
don't they have stuff in the can that won't even be on TV by the time the live show starts?
I think so, but that can all just go into the can and bring up later for hidden gems or something like that, right?
The lost episodes.
The lost episodes of NXT. I'm curious to see now what AEW is going to counter with. I know they're going to have a special right before All Out, which is a good idea, and I want to see how they're going to react to their TV. What's going to be good, and we saw this with the Monday Night Wars, is that each company is going to step up their game. So, and the winners are, of course, the wrestling fans, right? We should see some great wrestling.
The losers are the female counterparts of the wrestling fans who are going to lose their husbands and boyfriends on Wednesday nights now, which was never a wrestling night.
Yeah. And I wonder how, people are concerned about too much content. I think people are going to want more. I think because it's going to be something interesting. It's going to be something they want to see who's going to win this war, who's putting the better product out. I think it's definitely for the first 6 to 8 months, it's going to be really live, and then we'll see after that how things cool down and who's winning, and there's going to be a lot of gamesmanship. There's going to be a lot of stuff said, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be wild.
I mean, we may have to move our night to record.
Definitely.
We're going to have to move it to Thursday, maybe.
Definitely. Well, you'll be happy at 90210.
Well, 90210 is only a 6-episode season.
Is it?
Yeah.
Man.
But we'll see if they get season 2. Then maybe they'll get a full boatload of shows. But okay, so what Monday night is Raw for 3 hours, and I currently do not watch that show.
Me neither.
Wednesday night will be 2 hours of AEW and 2 hours of NXT. You can watch one live and DVR the other one. Actually, I think if we're on the West Coast, AEW will probably be on live. And then you could watch the West Coast feed of NXT if that's how you wanted, if you wanted your night to be like that.
Don't skip over SmackDown Tuesday nights.
Well, no, it would be on Friday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Friday now coming up.
And then SmackDown will be on Friday. So what is what's going to be your routine? Like, how are you going to, to me, I'm like, I want to watch as much as possible, but I also don't want to feel like all of a sudden my life is going to, be affected in this negative way just because of wrestling,
Well, thank God I cooled down on watching mixed martial arts. Can you imagine that was, 4 years ago?
But then the UFC show this last weekend was so good.
It was.
Better than anything I've seen in wrestling since, well, not the G1, but like right with the G1.
I'm going to continue to, be selective with Raw stuff. When there's something I want to watch, I'll just go into my DVR and fast forward to it and watch it, or see the clip on YouTube. Same thing with SmackDown. Well, actually, the first SmackDown.
I think I'll watch the first.
I'm watching
SmackDown
that
live.
one for sure. And maybe I'll watch this. Maybe I'll watch for a good 2-3 weeks to see how it goes. But I'm definitely just really interested in this war. And
so what's your day like? You come home from work on Wednesday.
Oh, well, all my stuff's late at night because I've got the kids.
I know. So you're going to be like, are you going to be able to watch 4 hours of wrestling after the kids go to bed?
Well, see, you also can fast forward because commercials.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I think I can pull it off because I'm a nut when it comes to watching wrestling. Not just I don't watch Raw and SmackDown on a regular basis, but I watch a lot of other stuff. So I think I can definitely fit it in. Now, that stuff might go less and less because you definitely want to concentrate on this war.
Okay, so I'm going to be the same way. I think I'm going to try to watch NXT and AEW. I have Hulu, and the Hulu versions of Raw and SmackDown are I think one is 90 minutes and one is 60 minutes or something like that. So maybe that's the version that I'll watch. So I get to skip through whatever they don't want me to see. But yeah, it's gonna it'll definitely change the way that we do this show because we're gonna have to basically report on head to head this show versus this show. And then with SmackDown on Fox becoming live and they're gonna put more into that. WWE is going to have to change the way that they do the brand stuff now. This wild card stuff is bullshit. Like we thought it was bullshit from the beginning, but they're going to have to get more organized. I don't see how they can keep being as unorganized as they are. And from what everyone says, Raw and SmackDown are getting a lot better than when we stopped watching after WrestleMania. But yeah, I think okay. Here's a question for you because this is also very intriguing to me. The XFL, they just announced all the teams. They announced Landry Jones is the new player, former Pittsburgh Steeler. He's the new guy. But with Vince being split in his responsibilities, who in that company do you think, Triple H is obviously going to be one of them. Who do you think takes that mantle of okay, I'm gonna step up to the plate here and really be a big part of the reason why this thing works out?
Well, I think what's gonna happen is a lot of people were freaking out Vince is gonna ruin my NXT the way I like it. Vince doesn't even go to takeovers. So
the first time he saw with any sort of NXT was that WrestleMania weekend show.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, in San Jose. But he doesn't go to takeover shows. He doesn't go to the TVs. So it's going to be the Triple H show. It's going to be the NXT coaches and their writers and their producers. So it's going to be the same. I'm really confident we're still going to see a great NXT TV show with what's going to be on USA. Now, when it comes to Vince, he's going to be really busy with the XFL, especially this first year, making sure it's a success, making sure there's a season 2. Mm-hmm. So I still think he'll, oversee things, Raw and SmackDown, still put his 2 cents. People still got to send him the scripts, blah, blah, blah. But I think he's going to have to pull back a little bit,
But he's got to be super obsessed just with the idea of going back into a war.
True, but I think this is Triple H's game.
Okay, but if all things work and NXT has a good audience and it's competitive with AEW, I would agree with you. But what happens if week 3 AEW comes out at 1.5 million viewers and NXT is at 800,000? Like, you can't tell me that Vince is not going to be like, I need to just dive in and figure out what's going on.
Maybe. I mean, there's definitely week 3 is going to get a good chunk's going to be taken out of NXT's viewership just because people are going to want to see, okay, what does these guys have, right? This AEW. There are going to be some people checking that out because you want to see a fresh new thing. And it's WWE's job to put on a great show to counter that. But I think Vince is getting older. Triple H is going to be eventually running this thing. I think Triple H is more competitive and fired up about this than Vince. Honestly, personally, I think it's not just WWE versus AEW. I think in the NXT world, their brand, Triple H running it, it's NXT versus AEW. I truly believe that's the mentality, and that's why I think Triple H is his baby to prove himself to his father-in-law that I am the guy that's going to take over this company with your daughter. And maybe Stephanie jumps in more with stuff.
What's she going to do, though? I mean, she's a brand person.
I'm talking about with like Raw and SmackDown. Maybe she's there to oversee Paul, and which is be hilarious, and Bruce.
And so that's kind of what I wonder is, Paul Heyman, does he become the third guy in that group? Bruce Pritchard on the SmackDown side, or maybe Jeff Jarrett or folks in the back kind of gain a little bit more power and responsibility. I think that's like obviously the big story is the war, but those sort of machinations behind the scenes are also what I'm interested in. And also when someone gains power, there are guys that they like who then get pushed better or and so the whole thing is fascinating. When the Monday Night War happened, we're in our early 20s, or you were probably just 20 if we consider, what do we consider, 90? No, you were like 19 in 96, right?
Yeah, 18, 19, yep.
So we saw it, we read about it in the Observer. We read Death of WCW. We saw all the documentaries, but now we're sort of at the forefront of discussing it every week, and I think it's gonna be a blast to do so. It's gonna be a lot of work for us watching a lot of stuff.
Fun
work, and hopefully people enjoy our takes on this stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be so interesting, and we're not that far away from the debut NXT show, so that's kind of crazy.
I'm super pumped for all this. I can't wait.